Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to the channel, and as promised, we are back in the film room today. We are looking at some Wanya Morris film. I'm going to focus right here on number 64. Looks like I chopped off his head on that. But again, as promised, we are back in the film room, as I said, and Chiefs Kingdom, looking to try to get to 100 subscribers here on YouTube before the new season starts, as we're sitting at 77 right now. So if you're watching this, you like it, smash that subscribe button for me. Let's hit this 100 before we get on to the new season. And we're going to jump right into the film, figuring out some new, trying to get these on-screen annotations right. So got a new little system I'm working on. So this is the first video I'm doing it on, so maybe some mess-ups here and there. But let's jump straight into this film for Wanya Morris. As we're looking at the Chiefs, not sure who's going to start at the left tackle position and going into 2024, and with Donovan Smith not returning to the Chiefs, as Wanya Morris got some time to show us what he's got a little bit on the field. Last season, with Donovan Smith out, this is week 12 against the Raiders. Week 12, week 13 were kind of the main ones that we're looking at. With Wanya Morris getting some time as that Chargers game as well at the end of the year. So right here, just looking straight out at this is one thing that's going to kind of be a theme, and I kind of want to point out right out of the gate, just to look at the jump. So if you look at where Jawaan Taylor is already, he's already has made a step back. Wanya is still like right here on the line, and right here is his man that he is coming in to rush Mahomes, right? So what we're looking at here is, and Daniel Harms from RGR Football did a really good film review on Jawaan Taylor recently that I watched, and this is really the biggest kind of gripe on Wanya Morris, I would say right now, is just kind of looking at, he's not getting off the line very quick, and right here is going to lead to some pressure from Mahomes' blindside a little bit. He steps up and is able to make a play, and protecting Mahomes has become, well known that it's not the easiest to do, right? And Mahomes makes this work and is able to kind of help out Wanya Morris on this play, just because he loses his man pretty quick. And I mean, if Mahomes doesn't step up, Wanya does enough, but he's just slow to react on the line. And that's kind of the issue. Ends up being a big play to Rashee Rice there. But again, like I said, Mahomes, that's one of the reasons Orlando Brown said he left. It's hard to block from Mahomes. And, the way Mahomes moves, even though on that one, that was pretty straight up on that Raiders play. Now we're moving to the last week of the season. This was Blaine Gabbert starting. A quick motion from Noah Gray. Inside, running back out. And this one right here is another one. It's just kind of a hesitation, right? As you're looking at Wanya, he's looking straight. This Khalil Mack is going to end up actually being his guy, but right now, where his head placement is, he's looking right at the guy that, Tooney is going to end up taking right here. Again, working on getting the right buttons right. So ends up being a quick pass, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, if this was a play that took a little bit longer to develop, it actually wasn't a bad block here from Wanya. He ends up getting and planting right there. That's, what you want to see from your left tackle right over here. I mean, perfect. Getting to Khalil Mack. I mean, the ball's already getting ready to come out, so it doesn't really matter in this case. But Wanya does do a good job of kind of recovering and getting the block on Khalil Mack, as we're going to see is a little bit different play right here. And I think this is Wanya's first complete start versus Khalil Mack. So, I mean, kind of hard to really fault him here, as he just gets blown up on this play. And again, kind of slow to react is what we've seen already here in these first couple of plays, and I kind of think that's one thing that Wanya Morris obviously is going to have to work on moving into 2024, especially if he's going to become the starter. This one not as bad, but just gets blown up on the play. And I mean, it is Khalil Mack, so I mean, you can't really fault him too much. We'll go right back to that real quick. We'll just show it one more time. I don't want to show it too many times, but tries to plant and does a good job here to just try to plant and keep Khalil Mack, but Mack just pushes and kind of rips away from Wanya, knocks him down. You even see, which I like that. I like the emotion right here. If you watch Wanya Morris, he's on the ground over here, but just kind of claps like, damn, all right, I'll get him next time. I guess we didn't see it on that one, but go back a little bit. But, you know, he knows what happened right there. And, I mean, you got beat by an all-pro. So, I mean, really no shame in it, right, when it comes to Khalil Mack. But here's one that, again, with Patrick Mahomes, he kind of gets away with. You know, if you have more of a stationary quarterback back there, you know, probably not going to be able to get away with some things like this. But with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, kind of makes a move. And this one where the D linemen are just going to switch. And Wanya does just enough that he opens up a lane for Patrick Mahomes to run, and Mahomes picks up a few yards. So that one I didn't think was too terrible either. And again, you know, it's the growing pains. And this was a game against the Packers where he came in off the bench. And one of the best jumps, I'll say, too. This is one thing that we, you know, I started the video with right here, just getting that quick jump right here, Wanya, and just see how he comes off the line in comparison. I mean, the ball is just snapped, gets back, does a great job, although, again, a little bit of confusion right here on whose assignment's going to be. Ends up being 95, I believe that is right there. Gets pushed, Mahomes sees it. He's kind of looking down here at Noah Gray, but he sees this pressure going to come in from the left side or the right side of Wanya. Just makes a move. Wanya has the leverage to get Mahomes to the outside. Mahomes just takes it and runs with it. Let's say pretty indifferent on that play, and you know, one of the more positive plays I think for Wanya, going in and just looking at his film, what he's done. Here's a quick play action from Blaine Gabbert. This is back to that Week 18 game at L.A. And Khalil Mack, again, is the guy lined up on Wanya's side right here. So a really tough matchup to go with, although he's going to move to his right. Obviously, play action. And Noah Gray, does a great job on Khalil Mack right there. Opens it up. Wanya kind of in no man's land at that point. But he comes across to his right, kind of tries to help out. But he does end up letting, if you watch 98 right here. Right there. The way that he's going to kind of miss the block on 98 and let 98 back in. Wanya gets over, kind of just over pursues, right? 98's able to get back. Doesn't really affect the play too much. You've already got pressure coming from the other side, but that was a lapse for Wanya right there, as he should have been in position, been able to make that block. And again, rookie mistakes, right? So he's really, you know, we're going to watch the growth this upcoming year of Wanya Morris. Here he is again. This one right here, another quick play action. And Wanya does a pretty good job right here. He does get kind of bullied into the quarterback as he throws. And, I mean, it's an inaccurate throw from Gabbert, which I'm not 100% if really the Wanya getting pushed back is really what does it, because he's already kind of in his throwing motion here. So once he gets hit and knocked down by Wanya Morris, but by that time already, Gabbert's already letting the ball go. He sees the pressure is coming, but Wanya, I think, does a good enough job on that play. You know, he holds his block, kind of resets. So you'd like to see the footwork improve too. That's one thing of where if he can plant on both feet, and again, that was one thing where I saw Daniel Harms kind of point out with Jawaan Taylor, where Taylor was really good at kind of resetting the block on, you know, getting both of his feet down and, you know, keeping that lineman right in front of him. And that's one thing Wanya, I think, really needs to work on. And right here, this one on the run block, I mean, just not a great play here as they get stuffed right here at the line. You're gonna see Wanya Morris kind of just flail at this block. Isn't able to get there in time. And again, getting that timing down. I mean, again, a rookie left tackle asked to. I mean, this game he actually started, right, but asked to come in a lot of these games and isn't able. This is a whole set too, a whole 3 downs at the goal line, and Wanya here, another one, allows the sack. And that timing, though, that I keep going back to, is just you look at the rookie timing and getting your play style down with the NFL level and the NFL speed versus what he was used to at the University of Oklahoma the year prior. And even right here, this is a pretty good jump that he got. And again, it's Khalil Mack. You're facing an all-pro. He's able to wipe the hands away and get into Gabbert. Oh, it wasn't a sack. He did throw it, and I think that ended up being a penalty, actually. Because it looks like they just blow the play dead. But nonetheless, of the outcome of the play, we get to see Khalil Mack versus Wanya Morris right there. And he does hold his own, I think, on that play. Obviously, he gets beat, but he holds his own. He doesn't get blown up like he got blown up earlier in the game, right, on that where Khalil Mack just pushed him straight to the ground. This was one that I wanted to point out because when you see it, you see it. You got 64 over here on the left side. When you get motion across, just a quick run to the right side, and, I mean, that's a pretty blatant hold. Holding call on 64 right there, and you see the emotion from the Charger right there saying, come on, ref, we got to call that. That was right when he threw the flag pretty much. But, I mean, all over him right here. And, again, it kind of goes back to just getting that speed down at the NFL level because realistically, I mean, you just keep pushing him that way. I mean, this play is going all the way over. So when it comes to this side of the play, I mean, just keep pushing him up the field rather than holding him and didn't have the leverage necessarily. I think obviously there is why you hold, but I think if, that's one I'm sure Wanya has watched on film too and thought, all right, we got to get better at, keep the feet moving, keep the defensive lineman pushing up the field. And I mean, at least if you're going to get yardage here, you're able to, get some yards instead of losing 10 on a holding call right there, because 98's probably not going to get in the backfield and make a play like that. And so now here's another run play. And I felt like Wanya was a little bit better in the run game to a point. He does, again, kind of over pursue. I feel like that was another kind of issue where, even at this point, he's kind of just changing the leverage, right? Because he's pushing 98, pushing. He's opening up that gap for the cutback. Although, on the second level, you've got somebody here waiting for this run. But still, the way he pushes too far at 98, kind of feels that and just moves himself over to the right side. And now P. Ryan's kind of like, oh, okay, there's nothing there at all. So again, just kind of that over pursuing. And, with being in the trenches, I think is interesting just from my time and, my life with martial arts training and clinch work and things like that. It's just such the little things that you feel somebody move a certain way and you make that distinction in your head. Oh, okay, I can move this way and I've got this opening. If I make a quick movement, I can turn this around into something else. And I feel like that's what 98 did right there, was he just felt Wanya leaning way too far to the right, trying to get him to the right. And if he just pushes back to the other side, he finds that opening and is able to make a play happen. Now, here's the Christmas Day Raiders game. And I can't remember if this was one that he came in on an injury too, where Donovan Smith was down for a little bit. I know both week 12 and 13. I'm pretty sure he came in for Donovan Smith to kind of help out. But right here again, he's getting the block. It's just once it makes me think of Madden sometimes. Like when you're playing the game and it's so frustrating, you're like, the guy's getting his block down, he's got it. As soon as you go to hit the hole, boom, he loses the block. And you're getting tackled for a 1 yard gain or a 2 yard gain or a quick loss like this was. And again, Wanya does a pretty good job getting off the line. I mean, he's pretty quick. He's a little bit slower than Tooney right there, but he does and is able. Now, to go back to that previous run where Wanya got the holding call, look at the difference between him and Jawaan Taylor, which there was somebody, and here's Taylor on the right side, and there was somebody directly in front of Wanya, so I mean, I'll give him cut him a little bit of slack there. But immediately Taylor's going up to the second level. He sees this and sees, okay, we're good on that side. What I need to do is if there's a cutback lane or something like that, nobody's really even worried about this guy again because you're pushing this ball out to the left side anyways. So really, what's the point? Pacheco's going to be able to outrun right here, which he is able to do. And then even, I think that's Trey Smith right there that turns around and comes back and is able to make a little bit of a block on him anyways. Getting a little away from Wanya's game, but Wanya just kind of comes out. He needs to get a little bit further outside, especially the way that they're running this football. They're looking to push this thing all the way outside, or possibly Pacheco's going to have a lane right here, and even then, Wanya is going to need to push this block all the way out, right? And he just lets his man kind of take the outside from him. And that's really what stops everything. And kind of what we talked about planting, what I was talking about a minute ago about just planting, kind of resetting the block. Wanya kind of tries to do that at this point right there. He just hammers that left foot down into the ground. But he just doesn't have the correct angle on him to be able to do that. And he's got to get further out. If he takes a wider step out and plants that foot, I think that it's better off there. But Wanya's guy is the one that makes initial contact, and they bring Pacheco down for a loss right there. So the run blocking, to me, needs a little bit of work. And right here, this is one of the best jumps that Wanya had out of all of this film review. And one thing that I really kind of started looking at the more that I watched it, almost immediately when the ball is snapped, Wanya is back. And that's one thing, Jawaan Taylor got called out for a lot last year, of course. Just false start. And, what is a false start? Lane Johnson does it a lot. And, I mean, these tackles, at the end of the day, with the way these edge rushers are, it's insane. It's insane the way, the guys that they have to block. This is one of the toughest jobs in the NFL, being a tackle, I would definitely argue. But to even see, this is exactly what you want to see. I mean, look how far Wanya is back already. Jawaan Taylor over here is, probably a half a step in front of where Wanya is at, which is, perfect what you want to see. You're coming down to make this block for Patrick. And one of the more successful pass plays that we've seen in this film review. And now you've got the edge rusher kind of, okay, where am I going with this? He kind of cuts back inside and is like, okay, I'm going to take this inside and try to make a move, which Max Crosby, that's one of those guys that's just unblockable. Sometimes he comes around and is able to kind of get in Mahomes' face. Big play, though, to Rashee Rice, and exactly what you want to see. So we're moving into the good. I wanted to start with the bad and move into the good to show, okay, there's something here. It's not, and I can't remember what round they got Wanya in. Of course, you draft another tackle this year. But, again, right here, perfect on Khalil Mack, is able to sustain this block on Khalil Mack, and exactly what you want to see. And as we said, the run game I felt like was a little bit of a, both sides to it, but just in the run game, Wanya has got to be able to hold his own too, especially with the way the Chiefs are able to run in this interior line they have. If you have another tackle that can really help out in the run game, I mean, that's huge for the Chiefs. And he's able to hold on to this block perfectly to let P. Ryan move through. Gets a couple yards, nothing special, but is able to sustain a block. And, that was in big part a big help from not Jawaan Taylor, but Wanya Morris right there. To even get that gain. So right here down on the goal line, I actually think the sequence that we watched earlier, right around the goal line, this is the first play to it, and then we saw the blow up on the run and the pass play. But Wanya again, right here, just doing his job and just driving that pack forward, and that's exactly what you want to see. Exactly what you want to see. So again, there's bad, but there's also a lot of good with Wanya Morris right here. And I mean, this block right here shows it all, and especially right here at the goal line where everybody's pushing and trying to, figure out, how to get the ball in the end zone right there. I mean, that's perfect. This was another play. This is one that probably the best play from Wanya Morris, I thought. Just the awareness he shows on the screenplay is probably the best out of anything. Quick little kind of play action to Pacheco, and we'll kind of watch Wanya's first step as he gets out. He gets off pretty quick off the line. Off to the left, makes a quick block on 90 right there. And then it disengages. Disengages and gets ready for the screen. He knows what's coming, but he turns back around and gets this block on 90 that really becomes one of the, stage setters for the rest of this play. Because if you don't get 90 right there, he's probably going to be right in that lane to be able to take down Pacheco for a loss. And I mean, he's completely taken out of the play now. Wanya completely took him out of the play, which is perfect. It's exactly what you want to see. And finish off this play with you got Creed all the way up front. And Pacheco is able to, do what he does and ends up scoring a touchdown. So that was Wanya's best performance. Week 12 against the Raiders. Second best performance was against the Packers, which, was him leaping right off the bench and coming into games to help out. And he scored pretty bad PFF-wise when it came to that Chargers game. It was like in the high 40s, I think, 46, 47, somewhere around in there, that he scored PFF grade-wise. And then it was kind of in the 60s. I don't remember the numbers right off the top of my head. But right around the 64 range for those games that he kind of just jumped in, which is good. And I think Wanya does have a lot of upside. I do honestly think that Wanya could credibly be the starting left tackle for the Chiefs this year. And the Chiefs obviously feel like they have a starting left tackle somewhere in their ranks. And, whether it's the kid from BYU that they just drafted, or it is, I doubt Jawaan Taylor moves over to left tackle, but that's also a possibility. And then you got Wanya Morris, that you got out of Oklahoma in the draft last year. So we'll see just how things shape out moving into camp. OTAs have obviously started, but moving into camp, and once we really start getting into the thick of things and start getting close to the season, where these guys are kind of going to shape out. So that is going to do it for the Wanya Morris film review. I really appreciate it if you watched, and if you enjoyed this. Again, Chiefs Kingdom trying to get to 100 subscribers before the start of the season. It's only 33 subscribers. There's plenty of people watching these videos that aren't subscribed. So if that's you, smash that subscribe button, especially if you liked it, and hit that like button for me as well. And continue to follow along. We're going to keep doing film reviews as well as the podcast going on as well. You can find that wherever you find your podcast. And keep it locked in right here on YouTube. And until next time, go Chiefs.